I'm sure many of you can remember the days before social media where the artists were much more mysterious. You didn't know kind of what they were thinking or even how they think in most cases, unless they were doing interviews. And even then, those interviews were a lot more abbreviated than the podcasts that we see to this day. So you get a real good idea of who the musicians are. And I think that's a great thing. But also, there is something to be said about that mystique of the musicians. You don't really see from them, and you don't get down into the weeds about every innermost thought that they have or feeling, because at the end of the day, the music is always going to be the most interesting thing. So for Jack White, he uses social media. You can tell that it's him. I do respect the fact it's really him on his social media. You can tell from how he posts on there. But sometimes you look at something that a musician will post and you'll go, maybe should have ran that by somebody. And I think this is a perfect example. He is expressing concerns about the U.S. monument, Mount Rushmore, which of course is a memorial to some of our presidents in history. And whatever you think of them, it's a cool looking monument. He seems to take issue with a large pile of rocks at the base of the monument that were apparently, some of it was from the chippings of making these statues or whatever you want to call them. And he's clearly very fired up about it. And I thought this might be one of those things you probably want to run by some folks before posting it. It's gone viral online. The comments are loaded with people criticizing him for this. And of course, I would love to hear what you think on this subject in the comments down below. Here is Jack White's post or rant about the Mount Rushmore and the pile of rocks at the base of it and how they need to be cleaned up. So let's take a gander here. This is what he's bringing attention to. This large pile of rocks at the base of Mount Rushmore. And his caption is amazing. He says, "So is all this rubble the remnants of the sculpting of Mount Rushmore? So nobody's going to clean this up? We as a people are just going to let this lay here forever? Was this already there, or is this the largest monument to littering the world has ever seen? Is this what the sculptor originally had envisioned? Just chip away at the rock and leave all the debris below? Did he think this was not his problem? I don't see any other large piles of chipped stone and rubble around the area in the wide shots. Don't get me started on the fact that this was native land and a sacred mountain. I also don't want to hear about how the carving was supposed to be full-bodied presidents, or the back of it has a secret room. I don't care about that part. I specifically want to know who's going to clean this up, and when, and how. And then we can ask why. Well, Jack, first of all, if you want something done right, you just do it yourself. So let's get our shovel out and let's get to work, bud." If you look into the comments, you can see that most people, including fans of his, are like, "Bro, what are you doing?" This person said, "What are you going to do about it? You have the platform. Make a plan and get folks on board." I'm confused. It's a pile of rocks. Is a pile of rocks really something to be upset about? You do realize that these are rocks and not garbage, right? You do realize that rocks come from the earth, right? Surely you know it will cost taxpayers millions to clean up. And once you clean it up, then what? It's not like you're going to build a house or recreation center. So I'll ask, why clean it up? What's it going to solve? You seem to be the only one worried about it. In my 47 years of life, you're literally the first and only person I've ever heard of that's worried about this. For once, I got to disagree, Jack. This is a non-issue compared to what's going on in the country right now. I agree, but I think we have some serious, larger issues on our hands than this. This person says, "Your worries are rocks. Clean up the streets from all the fentanyl deaths." Isn't it funny that when self-made USA multimillionaires complain about the country that made them the millions of dollars they have, then complain about stupid shit like this? For people not able to afford groceries and living paycheck to paycheck, this is not something at the forefront of their minds. I love your music, but you are out of touch. And so on and so forth, and it just keeps going and it just keeps going. This person said, "It never ceases to astound me that someone looked at this mountain and thought, boy, does it ever need 4 presidents' heads on it."